Author of Brainwashed, How Universities Indoctrinate America's Youth. You're currently a student at Harvard Law, recent graduate of UCLA. What did you find on college campuses? What have you found about the political culture there?
Well, I mean, it's very clearly an extremely liberal environment. I mean, every poll shows the incredible imbalance that you have between liberals and conservatives on campus. What I found is that most students are apathetic. They really don't care about politics at all. So the problem in terms of indoctrination is really for the apathetic students. I've never claimed that conservatives are the ones who are experiencing, sort of horrific oppression on campus. I don't think that that's necessarily true. I think reports of people being graded down for their conservative viewpoints are probably exaggerated to a certain extent. What I can say is that people who are unaffiliated, who don't know that much about politics, are going to come out left. And they're going to come out left specifically because they're hearing a lot of leftist bias from the professors. Not because the professors are saying stuff like, Bush is an idiot or Bush should be impeached or any of that sort of stuff. More because they have control over the syllabus. So they get to control, what students see and hear on a given issue. And that being the case, that means that the case is going to be biased to one side inherently.
Did you come across any statistics in doing your research about the political affiliations of professors?
Oh yeah, I mean, there have been a number of polls. Most recently, there was a poll that came out last year that showed that I believe it was 77% of the professoriate is registered Democrat or votes Democrat, and that seems a bit low to me. I mean, if you look in the Ivy Leagues, for instance, in the 2000 election, 84% of professors voted for Al Gore. I mean, the country was split 50-50. You have 84% of Ivy League professors voting for Al Gore. For instance, on specific issues like abortion, there have been polls that have shown 99% of Ivy League professors are pro-choice. I mean, that's about as imbalanced as you can possibly get. So the claim that professors can separate themselves from their own political biases long enough to teach a class, I just think it's false.
Why do you think that most professors are liberal?
I think there are a couple reasons. The first reason is self-selection. I mean, I think that you don't see a lot of liberals working at the NRA. You don't see a lot of conservatives working in academia. It's a liberal environment, and if I'm a conservative, I don't particularly feel like going into that environment day in and day out. I mean, it's fun to do it for me in college, and it's fun in law school, but I'm not sure I'd want to do it as a career. The other reason is that in order to become a professor, you do have to go through a certain process, and that process is run by liberals. So if you have tenured professors deciding who's to become a professor, if they're the ones who are reading the papers that professors have to write in order to become professors, if they're doing the hiring, then they're going to be biased in a certain way. Now, it may not be conscious. I think that probably they would think of themselves as relatively unbiased when it comes to figuring out who's a good teacher and who's not. But the problem is that a lot of professors, because they're an ivory tower, they don't even recognize that the other perspective has validity. And that being the case, they really believe that what they're saying is pure fact. So anything else must necessarily be falsehood, and there's no reason to give falsehood a place in the classroom.
Why do you think there aren't more conservative colleges?
That's a good question. I think mostly because state-sponsored colleges tend to be very liberal, and a lot of students go to state-sponsored colleges. At the end of Brainwashed, I pushed for startup colleges, essentially, from conservatives. There was an attempt in Colorado to put together a Reagan college. That fell apart. I think part of it is that if you're an alumni, regardless of whether you're conservative or liberal, you have a stake in keeping your school's reputation as high as possible, because then you get to brag about it. So if you're from Princeton, you're going to give money to Princeton. If you're from Harvard, you're going to give money to Harvard, regardless of what's going on the campus. So there's no real reason for colleges to change their policy. They're getting a lot of money. The alumni are going to continue giving money because it's good for their resume, for people to look at their college and say, wow, you went to Harvard, even if they don't agree with the current political policy at Harvard. So if there's no market for it, then and people are unwilling to go out of their way to create a market for conservative colleges, there's not going to be any conservative colleges.
What's your personal experience been at Harvard Law School? Do you speak up when you disagree with what a professor says about politics?
Yeah, I do, and it's a lot of fun. I think that conservatives need to gauge professors. I mean, one thing some conservative students don't tend to do is realize when professors just want to talk and just sit there, and listen. If a professor wants to talk, let it go. But I found a lot of professors